Hello, guys.
What's happening?
I don't think I've been here. I feel like I haven't been here in a month.
It feels that way.
Well, you were off.
I was off.
Were you off 1 week?
1 week.
And I last week had the night before the show. I said I was coming on the next day, but had an opportunity to jump on a plane the next morning. And I only had the flights. I only had so many choices. And I was like, damn, I just promised Gill I was coming on. And I think I texted you. Like, did I text you in the morning or hopefully it was the night before?
No, it was the night before.
It was?
We had a solid 24 hours.
Oh, good.
It was
Okay.
the day before.
I know the day before I was like, I talked to you the 2 days before.
This was when the NFL schedule came out, right?
Yes, and I had to go down to Florida to make sports bets because, of course, I have to leave Las Vegas, which is sports betting capital of the world.
Yes.
I mean, it's supposed to be.
Yes.
The reason why I went to Florida because I was there at Tampa a few weeks earlier, and they had the season wins under season wins up before almost anybody, and not only did they have them. They were taking giant bets. I was fooling around, not fooling around. I was just almost testing to see how much money they take. And
what did we learn?
I learned they took it. I learned. What did I learn?
How much?
I didn't bring enough money.
Wow.
No, I definitely did. I had like $25,000 and it went on the first 3 bets. Yeah.
Wow.
So I said I got to go back there eventually. And when I seen other markets coming up, I said, you know what? Let me get back there. And you could look at their lines here, which is unbelievable. It's great. You can look at the lines in Las Vegas. And I just got on a plane and went down to Hard Rock in Hollywood this time. And let me tell you, I'm tough on casinos a lot. I expect more out of them than most, and try to help the customer and the Joe public. I was really impressed with that property. I haven't been there in a couple of years since the Guitar Tower was built. They put billions of dollars into this place, billions with a B. I mean, just their pools and cabanas, and I mean, it reminds me of being in like the Bahamas or something. Yeah. It was really, really nice. I didn't expect it to be that nice. I was at the pool every day, which I normally don't do, but I had some friends down there, and they were going to go to the pool. I said, I'll go to the pool, and it was. I learned something. So I knew I was going to go to the pool.
Did you wear the Kangol at the pool? That's what
I did, in the water a little bit, and then I took it off a little bit.
Curious.
Yeah, but I learned something.
Good question, but you can't get sunburnt.
That's the only question I had.
I'll make you laugh. I'm talking about all these tens of thousands of dollars, and I'll make you laugh. I'll get the frugal Bill Krackomberger. I had some sunblock in the apartment from 3 or 4 years ago, I guess. I just said, let me bring the sunblock with me. So I put the sunblock on. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, wow, I got a little burn in my head. And how did I get burned? Well, I realized it expired in 2020. So
wait, where'd you bring the sunblock from?
From Vegas.
Sunblock expires.
It expires, but I'm always a proponent of saying everything expires, but it's still good.
Right. Yeah.
Not the sunblock. Sunblock definitely expires.
I did not know that. I learned something today.
Yeah.
Sunblock
expired.
So I think about it. I said, I bought this at Dollar Tree. I think I was like, that's I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with me? Why wouldn't I get a good sunblock from 2024 that I still have this one from 2020, which is probably from 2016.
Well, aren't you limited to like 3.3 fluid ounces or 3.4 fluid ounces in travel anyway?
Yeah, but it was in the bag, though. It was in the bag.
Oh, you checked
So
it.
I immediately got robbed for $25 for a copper tone one at the hotel. But I just thought that was kind of funny. The way we live our life sometimes, and then sometimes we live our life so differently. And I was just like, well, what's wrong with me? I'm betting tens of thousands a year.
And you won't buy the $25 sunscreen.
5-year-old sunblock.
We're all like that, though.
Yeah.
We're all
try to get the best of everything. I got some of the sunblock in my.
By the way, I think I've said this on air. I've had a low-key, very low, this tone argument with a TSA agent about them stealing my sunblock.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, I said, you think the world's going to be safe that you just stole my sunblock? Right? They go, actually, I think the world is safer. And I go, I don't think so. I don't think it is. I think it is, sir.
I would have loved to have been there for that.
Wow. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to the problems at the airport. I'm going to get to that. But I wanted to tell you the Hard Rock. Everything from the rooms to the unbelievable shows. I mean, the Red Hot Chili Peppers are going to be there this weekend, or the next weekend. Diana Ross was just there, like out of retirement.
By the way, her voice at 76 years old is still spectacular.
Unbelievable, right?
Yeah. The rooms are great. I stayed in there a couple times when they first opened. It was awesome. Yeah.
Rooms were unbelievable. If you guys know what hotel rooms are in Nevada, Las Vegas, and wherever casinos you go to. So when you go to an outside room, at a hotel, like the Masters, and you stay in Motel 6 or one of the motels, you say to yourself, oh, my God, this is the disaster. We're expecting hotel rooms like Las Vegas and no, seriously, like the Masters, I pay $600 a night for Hampton Inn.
Yeah.
It's a dump.
We do get spoiled here.
So we get so spoiled
Yeah.
for our room quality. And the rooms there, I felt like I was in literally the Bahamas. It was unbelievable. The meals were great there. The service was really good.
Do you know we're getting a big old guitar here?
That's the reason I'm saying it.
Oh.
I think it's going to be if it's anything like that experience at Hard Rock Hollywood, it's over, brother. They're getting all the business here.
Really?
Hard Rock gets all the business here.
It is going to be the most iconic thing on the strip. Like right now, what would you say? The Stratosphere Needle is like the iconic thing on the strip, even though no one goes there. But when you think of the strip, maybe. But
Bellagio fountains.
Oh, Bellagio fountains too. But I'm just saying, if you took a snapshot,
Right? Yeah.
right?
Your skyline.
I think that the guitar will be it.
I'm personally annoyed by it just because it feels like South Florida's following me.
Right.
Like it's like, oh, Fontainebleau, cool.
I talked to South Florida last week, and they're like, we're following Kelley. We're totally following.
Like Fontainebleau and Hard Rock. Like
So when's the last time you guys have been to Hard Rock Hollywood? Or were you there?
I was there probably 6 years ago.
Oh, that long ago. Okay. It was also, I'll just tell you,
Hollywood geographically is very short drive from Miami. If you have no traffic, of course.
Right.
Yeah, and it's over by the turnpike. So you're like
it's by the turnpike, but it's 15 minutes from the airport.
Yeah.
From the Fort Lauderdale airport, 35 from the Miami airport.
close to the stadium.
Yeah.
Close to the stadium. And boy, the weekend, the eye candy down there. Oh my God. It's like a Miss Latino pageant every weekend. Like for now on, I was rooting for Colombia in the Olympics. I'm rooting for them in everything. I mean, it's unbelievable down there. I mean, beautiful, beautiful girls, one after another, and the friendliness.
So there's that.
So I had a guy come up and ask for a selfie, right? Ask for a selfie.
I recognized
As a matter of fact,
recognized you.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I cannot believe the recognition from this show. I mean, there's a big South Florida following of your show, Gill.
I love you,
People
South Florida.
came up to me because of this show, like multiple people, not one or two. I was walking. Listen, how can this happen? I'm walking through the pool with no hat. How can you recognize me without the hat?
I didn't recognize you when you had the baseball hat on.
Right, yeah.
I came on our show. I'm like, Bill, is that you?
Someone jumped out of the pool. A guy jumped out of the pool. Wait a minute. He said, he just seen me on he's seen JetBlue. Action's still on JetBlue. It's unbelievable.
Oh, that's awesome.
Action's still on JetBlue. But him and his wife just watched like the night before flying in. But anyway, they recognize from this show. But the selfies, then a girl comes over to me. I don't even know this girl. She goes, can I get a selfie too? I said, sure. She says, what do you do? Like she just wanted she was just being like they just want to be involved down there. It's really cool down there.
But now, just for clarification, explain to me the Florida gambling environment, that is the only game in town, so to speak.
I found out that you could actually bet sports all over Florida. I didn't know that. I thought it was only at the two
if you were
Hard
on
Rocks.
property?
Yeah, but you can but they have the app. You have an app in state. You can bet.
That you can use now.
You can use their app anywhere. But there's other properties all throughout the state of the Seminole tribe. I didn't even know.
Correct.
You can go to Coconut Creek and bet sports. I was like, what?
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I didn't realize that. And then I seen the printout. There's like 50 places that have kiosks set up all over the state now. So you don't have to go like right to the counter. But by the way,
now I think they're all under the Hard Rock umbrella, though, right?
I guess they're all under the Seminole umbrella.
Seminole Casino, Coconut Creek,
That's
but it is under
is.
Hard Rock.
Hard Rock,
It is
okay.
a part of Hard Rock.
But
So it is in effect the only game in town.
Okay, like Fort Myers, you can bet. I was like, Fort Myers? Yeah, you can bet in Fort Myers. Like I didn't understand how they had the. I thought it was just the two properties that allowed sports betting. So. Good guys. I've only met really good guys up at the counter there betting, and they told me, I like that they say, hey, I try to bet a dime or on something. I was betting some NBA props. He's like, you can put a nickel through, or we can send a dime through for approval, but you can put the nickel right through. So I put the nickel through, waited 10 minutes, went up again, put the nickel through again. I mean, they were cool about it too. Then I'll be real blunt. I went to the kiosk. They didn't change again. I bet again. $300. The kiosk was set at $300. So, but I gave them time in between. I wasn't trying to circumvent limits. They were. Some of them they moved right away. One bet I made for a nickel, they moved right away.
Is a little part of you thinking about moving there?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I can't stand humidity and the bugs. Who likes that? I'll never be in a humid place again. Never, ever. But by the way, they got hit with a heat wave. It was 100, which it never is 100. Usually it's like 90, 85. It was 100 degrees and humid. Yeah, I was in that pool. And the pools are so beautiful. Waterfalls come over your heads. I was like, this is unbelievable.
Wow, Billy is mesmerized.
No, I was really impressed by it. But now there's some bad, too. We'll talk about it after the break. I said a lot of the good things that I really liked. The bad things. Their vouchers expire in 30 days. I'm bothered by that. So 30 days, I can't get my 54 cents.
You better get that 54 cents quick.
Yeah. So,
clock's ticking.
Their vouchers expire in 30 days, which most of them, here are at least 90 or 6 months or a year. I was bothered by that. Also, no card counting down there. Here's why: when you go to the table, if you're not going to give an ID, so you go up to the table and you say they ask for a card, and you say no, and you learn things. Bill Krackomberger learned things by this trip.
We're talking about the Hard Rock in Florida.
Hard Rock in Florida, yeah. You have to. In other words, even if I go with someone to the table, they should always get a card. You should always have a card because they have a rule there. They give you this placard for the cameras. If you don't have a card, they put the placard right where you're going to bet and says refuse ID. Refuse. I would give my ID. I don't care.
Have you ever seen that before?
Never seen anything like that before, ever. Never seen anything like that before. Matter of fact, here it is.
That's bizarre.
This is and this is on the table. Any player who does not wish to be rated will be restricted to one spot and a maximum bet of 10 times the posted table minimum. So if the table minimum is $50, you could bet $500. By the way, you get the money on 10-1 spread. 50 to 500, you're going to get the money. But they are really strict on that little round thing that comes on that. You just can't. Then the camera knows that this guy didn't give an idea. Watch him. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you always want to give a card there. Plus, they don't have any double deck. They have 6 and 8 deck. It's harder to. I think the better thing is double deck or single deck with good rules. But yeah, so they didn't have those. That's really it. Maybe you know what.
I'm actually shocked that the language is that clear.
Yeah.
That they're like upfront about it. Like, hey, if you don't give this, we're gonna be watching you.
We're gonna be watching you.
Yeah, and we're gonna kick you out.
They drop a little disc on right where you're gonna bet. The disc is right in front of the mile. This guy gave no ID basically. He doesn't want to be rated. So that was interesting. It's good to blend in on the week. Listen, on the weekend, I'm sure you can blend in.
Right. Yeah.
And no one's gonna be asking. By the way, you should come up with chips. Card counters will always know that already. You never want to buy in for cash where they have to get the attention of the floor person. Just bring chips, and it's not as easy as I'm saying, so I'm making it sound like it's much simpler. But you guys notice this, a lot of these gaming destinations around the country, the area outside is so bad. They must copy off Atlantic City, I swear. It's like the area is so bad. So there's a store back east called Wawa, which I like, the Wawa stores, which is like a 7-Eleven, but it's just a better experience for me when I go in. I feel
like they had just expanded to Florida when I left.
Yeah, they have tons of locations all over Florida now. So I'm willing to bet the 2 worst but most dangerous Wawas are outside the Tampa one and outside the Hollywood one.
Yeah.
No, they're rough.
They're not great areas.
No, but the areas they're in are just absolutely terrible. But I'm not putting Wawa down. I love it.
When you say close to the turnpike, it kind of kind of built in.
I don't know. I think I have you both beat. I don't know if it's rough or I don't know, but it's. I think I've told this before. Jay Root and I. Jay Root, who used to be the vice president of racing sports at MGM.
Oh yeah.
We used to go around the country to all of the MGM casinos. And we went to Borgata many times, and it's beautiful, and Beau Rivage in Mississippi, and it's beautiful.
Very beautiful.
But then one time we flew into Memphis, Tennessee, and we drove from Memphis, Tennessee into
Tunica?
Northwest Mississippi, into Tunica. And it's really a destitute part of the country. And I mean, I'd be lying if I told you I didn't say to Jay at the time, I was like, well, this is the first time I feel kind of dirty about this, right? Like, it just, we have to be aware that was an old school model.
It was.
Right? Like, let's throw this casino in the middle of this.
Yeah.
You're right.
You know, and people are betting their paychecks and stuff.
Oh,
and
so it's sad.
It's sad. It was very sad, yeah.
And when you went there...
People were great, but, you know, you couldn't help but notice that.
Yeah, no, I've been to Tunica. I mean, just think of Tunica. I think they closed like 5 casinos since they've opened.
Yeah.
You know, I went to the Grand Casinos in Tunica, and I've been there a couple times, and it's a destitute area. It's poor, and that saddens me when I see.
It was very sad.
The beginning of the month, you see everyone blowing their checks, and
it was.
But I'll tell you what, you go to California, there's Indian casinos there. You see the same thing at the beginning of the month.
That's what I mean. I think it exists sadly in so many different places.
It really is. It's a sad thing, and I see that. But let me just tell you now. Also, we're going to get to. It was so busy there that they had marshals at the doors on Friday and Saturday night, only allowing so many people in. I mean, there was that they had the cops directing traffic, the parking garages you couldn't get spaces in. Now I don't know what's going on down there. Someone said, "Oh, well, they have all the Bitcoin conferences are always here and the seminars and it's Bitcoin." I don't know if it's Bitcoin. I have no. But there's a lot of young people spending money. I can tell you that. But it's like it reminded me of like the old Cocaine Cowboys movie. Like we're just like where are they getting this money from? All these young people. I'm like, that cocaine built up Florida in the 70s and 80s. I mean, that's you guys seen the special, the documentary. It was great.
Well, so like but the positives of that location, right? It's it's not easy to find cheap land in South Florida, right?
Yeah.
So you go a little further west, but they're also doing it's kind of the same thing as where like the Panthers arena is at for hockey. You get to draw, you're far enough north that you can draw from the Palm Beach County and rich Boca Raton, rich Delray Beach, West Palm Beach area, and also draw from, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
You have a great point. There's just a lot of money down there.
Yeah.
If you're an ideal person in life and you're making the kind of money, you want maybe a place in Southern California, New York, Vegas, and South Florida. I mean, you're right. There's some of those areas there are just amazing. And you're right. I'm not even thinking they're drawing probably from that Boca area. I went to Boca for dinner one night.
That's
a 30-minute drive from Boca.
It was 30. It was 30 minutes. Yeah, I went to a steakhouse there in Boca, which was absolutely packed. Like couldn't get in packed. And beautiful areas there too. There's some great, but a lot of areas are old in South Florida. They're old. You can see the area. Let me tell you something. Like L.A., a lot of areas in L.A. are old. They're just old, but. Inside that casino, nothing but the top of the line stuff.
Not to break your flow.
No.
But can we get to the very relatable airline story?
Man, I had probably one of the worst.
Shut up about Florida Talk airplanes.
One of the worst airline experiences. One of the worst airline experiences of all time. There's only so many airlines that fly nonstop to Vegas. There's Spirit flies nonstop to Miami and Fort Lauderdale, or JetBlue flies to Fort Lauderdale. Or American. That's it. American goes to Miami. So I had a spontaneous trip where I had to get there the next day. And if I'm going to be on Spirit, I have to be in one of those big front seats at the front. It's more comfortable. It's $100 more. It's well worth it to me. So I flew direct to Miami. And the flight in was fine. Nighttime flight. As a matter of fact, you guys were talking about, because most people hate the red eyes.
We all love them.
I love the red eye.
I like the red eye. I think it's...
Otherwise, Kelley, known as the Ojo Rojo.
What is that?
Otherwise known as Kelley has a few cocktails and goes to sleep for 5 hours and wakes up in Florida.
But it's quiet. That's what it is. Maybe people got to drink. It's pretty quiet at night. You're flying in. The flying back is always a problem. Anyone coming to Vegas from probably most destinations, they're going to be tuned up. They're going to be pumped up. They're going to be drinking on the plane. Well, I had a plane full of people that were just out of their minds, man. I had first of all, I sit against the window, and Drago sits next to me. This guy is 6'9", and he took the armrest, but I was like, okay, you can do it. I mean, his arm was bigger than my leg. I mean, yeah, go ahead. And then he doesn't say nothing to me, but he turns to me and said, "How long flight?" I said, I think 5 hours. Yeah, he growled. And I was like, wow, look at the size of this. This guy was 6'9". He couldn't fit, he just couldn't fit.
You do something about it.
No. He was, I think he pointed to me once and told the stewardess, if he dies, he dies. I think that's what he said. But, yeah, I mean, he sits next to me, and it wasn't a big deal, but he was gassy.
Oh, no.
That was terrible. Then I'm so glad he went to the bathroom on the flight, actually. He was in there for a half hour. They were getting ready to knock on the door. Yeah, he's giant. I don't know how he fit in the bathroom. This guy was 6'9". I didn't even want to ask him what he did. And, it's funny, in the end, when he was leaving the plane, he left his phone charger on the seat. He got right out. Didn't say a word to me the whole plane. Now, which is fine. You don't have to talk to me. I'm not talkative on the plane either. He left his phone charger on the seat, so I seen it and said, buddy. Instead of saying thank you, he growled again. Like he growled at me. I was like, wow.
All right, Billy, you're burying the headline. So what happened here on this flight?
I was in row 2. In row 23, there was a giant disturbance because someone touched these 2 girls' Air Jordans in the overhead.
Oh,
so we're gonna talk about that when we get back. Oh my God! It turned into a disaster.
Someone touched another person's Air Jordans.
Air Jordans. The stewardess trying to make room for the bags. It got so bad, we all had to get off the plane.
Guardians won yesterday. They came from behind. We're down 3-0 to the Mets. They come back. They win it. But guess what? They won 9 out of 10, and it's like it just might be whistling in the wind because the Philadelphia Phillies will never lose another baseball game. Guardians are 14-7. They're exactly now where I thought they would be after 21 games at 14-7. This is for the most wins by the end of May update. But the Phillies are 16-3. They're in first. 2 wins ahead of the Guardians, and right now would also have the tiebreaker. Today, the Guardians are off. And so today is the day where if you have a Guardians bet like me, you just have to root against the Phillies and the Yankees. And the Phillies are big favorites going up against Andrew Heaney of the Rangers. But if the Phillies win today, the Guardians can win out and it might not even happen.
Yeah, you're getting to that point.
It's just an incredible performance by one baseball team, who, by the way, also had the most wins in March, April in the end. But just an amazing run by the Phillies. Now, if the Phillies do lose today, stay tuned. In my best Larry David. That's your Guardians update.
No, we're running out of days, right?
We're just running out of days. Yeah, we'll see. Good on them, though. Listen, we can be right about our handicap, but if another team goes 16-3, not a whole bunch you can do. Bill Krackomberger rejoins us at Bill Krackomberger with a K, and again, Wisecracks, name of the podcast, with John Orlando. So somebody dared touch somebody else's Air Jordans in the overhead bin.
Well, it was the stewardess. But before I get to that,
wait, the stewardess touched it.
The stewardess, the
flight attendant.
She was making room. The flight attendant was making room for the more bags.
Oh.
Yeah, but we'll get to that in 1 second. I want to ask both of you guys something.
Yeah.
When your flight's at 8 p.m., do you get to the airport at 6 p.m., 2 hours?
A domestic flight?
Yeah.
I get there fairly early. People make fun of me.
I try to get
People
there.
make fun of me, too.
Yeah.
I get there I'm 2 hours.
I have the intention to do so, and sometimes do and sometimes don't.
No,
you don't have to lie about it, man. It's okay.
No, you have to allow
when
for
I
things.
When I go to California after a Friday morning show, I'm literally the guy that gets in and they close the door behind me.
Gil runs out of here some Fridays. I'm like, what time's your flight? He's like 10:30. Like,
oh my God. No, it's not 10:30.
When we did the South Point, swear to God, we would get off at 9 a.m. and the flight to Cali would be at 10:15, and I'd be on that flight.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're one of those. You're on that side.
It's not fun, by the way. I'm not
it's not fun. Listen, the hassle of flying, running late, and people just think, and these people just think that they're the only ones there. It's a self-centered generation. Like, I've had people play headset, without headsets. They play their iPhones and iPads in the airport.
It's everywhere. That's everywhere. It's driving me insane.
Why don't you just put a headset on?
No.
Like, I was sitting in the airport in Miami.
If you're in a public restroom, I don't need to hear what your video you're watching in the stall is. I really don't need that.
It's even worse when they're sitting by in the air. But they're kids. They're under 30. They're just how stupid are they though? Just you have to have consideration for other people around you. Plug the thing in, and now they want to laugh out loud, real loud. They want to laugh at their Instagram or TikToks, and they don't even have a headset in. So
I had one this past week that was a little less egregious because they might not have been aware, but a guy on the other side of the aisle had his phone perfectly situated where the sunlight was coming in. So he was destroying me and the girl next to me.
He didn't know though.
He didn't know though. I say that, but then but we were in exit row, and then when the flight attendant came by and wanted the verbal yes, he was so into his phone he wasn't even aware. So I was like, okay, this guy's just in his own world.
So, all right, now get on the plane. I'm in row 2. In row 23, I hear a disturbance all the way back there. And I'm like, wow, that's weird. And the flight attendant comes up and tells the other girls, these people are screaming and yelling at me, and literally were cursing at me because I touched their Air Jordans and moved them over. And they said, "No, put the Air Jordans go on top. Do not touch my shoes." And next thing you know, they sent a different stewardess back there, flight attendant, and she's like, "We have to get them off the plane. They're drinking. They're cursing us out." So now they get to the front of the plane. They call someone to come, and the people say, and the two girls say, "We're not getting off this plane. We're not getting off. We paid. We're not getting off this plane." So what happens when that happens? You have to deplane everyone. Oh. I felt bad for the lady in front of me. There was a lady in a wheelchair in front of me. I felt so bad. It was so hard for her getting on.
Because the selfishness of that.
Yeah. But some of the other people on the plane, more people got arrested. By the way, four people wind up getting arrested.
Whoa.
Yeah, the two were arrested in the back, and then two other girls that were sticking up for them, 20 rows that knew nothing about the situation. They just went crazy because they had to get off the plane, and they felt they were also drinking and they just wanted to get going. So they get us all off the plane, and I know what happens now because I've been on one plane in my life where they got people off. I know what happens. The plane gets canceled. So my finger's on the button to book the next plane tomorrow because I know what happens. They just cancel the plane, and that's it. So,
wait, why do they do that, though? Is that the trickle-down effect because they don't want to be late in the next city?
There is a trickle-down effect, especially this is 3 hours now. We're going to have to wait to get on.
Yeah. Were you screaming at them? But I hear they're taking 5 dimes down at Hard Rock in Florida. You got to get me on the next plane.
Jesus. Now, this was opposite, though. This was Miami to here.
Oh, sorry.
So we're in Miami. We're coming here. And these people are getting off the plane, and next thing you know, I see 4 people arrested. They arrested the 2 girls that were 1 row behind me on the other side. They were really mouthing off, too.
They're cuffing them.
Oh, yeah, they were off the plane. They got all 4 of them off the plane, and they arrested them. And the crowd actually cheered, because...
I would cheer, too.
Yeah, the crowd actually cheered. I have a video on my phone. The crowd actually cheered.
There was a big viral video that was out last week of some woman in Frontier.
That happened that morning.
Same morning.
She
wouldn't say yes in the exit row. She refused to comply with the exit row responsibilities. By the way, Kelley, I don't know if you know this. I take my exit row responsibilities very seriously. I do a whole bit. But she said no.
All she had to do was say yes.
She said no. She said, I'm not doing it. She says, I'm not helping anybody in an emergency. She actually said that, I believe, out loud. Yeah. And then... she was selfish. Everybody had to get off the plane because she wouldn't do it. And then she lied that she didn't say no.
Of course she did.
About it.
Of course she did. No.
But whole planes, people have plans, man.
Right.
These girls were just cursing at everyone because the one walked up to the front. They were cursing, and they sent 2 cops. First of all, they're real cops too. By the way, they're real cops. How can they send 2 cops, males? You have to send a female cops. It's a female's problem. You can't send men. At least I think you should send some females. Well, here comes the whole SWAT team. 20 people showed up.
Oh no.
Which they did. They finally got some. But if the girls would have got off the plane when the cops told them to, they wouldn't have had to deplane. You understand? They had now everyone off because we had to separate and get these people off the plane.
I think the moral of the story there is
if
your Air Jordans are that precious to you, you probably should put them under the seat in front of you, right? Isn't that the moral?
Yeah. I was actually thinking we're talking Jordans. These could be like $5,000 shoes or something like that.
These weren't $5,000.
Okay, all right.
Not these clowns.
I was trying to think maybe you put it in a hard case somehow in your suitcase. But I think, Gill, I actually think you're right. I think you just put it right below you. That works out rather well.
Does Bill Krackomberger remain calm during these episodes?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. How about the group? When I get upset, I'm usually sitting in the front of the plane. How about when these people behind you, when the plane lands, think they could just get up? We're taxiing. The girl has to come on and says, we're on an active runway. Please sit down.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to get my bag, though.
It's their first time ever on a plane, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the whole process, even from the airlines, right? Like, why do we board planes from front to back? And not reverse. Why don't you get people on, and then they can get settled in the back, and then you get the rest of the people on.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the people that when you land and you're now the little thing ding comes on and everyone gets up and rushes to their bags. You always have those people that dart out the runway, go past me. Where are you going?
You've been on a flight for 5 hours. What's the rush?
Where you go? They think the row 5 people think they can get out and go ahead of row 2 people.
It's the
row 1 people.
It's the old connecting flight excuse. I got a connecting flight.
Oh, there's no connecting flight. And I'll tell you something.
I hate those people.
I'm actually okay with, but as long you have to say it. right? Like if you let me know you have a connecting flight, I will let you go ahead.
They should announce that, and I have no problem letting those people.
They do. Sometimes they do. They say certain people have to go to here and some people have to go to there.
This ain't the people I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's not that.
I'm talking about the ones that say they got to go smoke.
Yeah.
And by the way, that happened again. Someone was smoking on the plane in the bathroom.
No.
Yes. This is like the third time this happened to me. Cigarettes. But
I smoke a cigarette in an airplane.
I just Gill, are you old enough like me? Do you remember the cigarettes on airplanes?
Maybe.
I flew a flight from Newark to Boston in like 1985. There was a guy next to me was smoking. I just remember that.
I do.
Maybe 84.
Well, I mean, do you remember like fast food restaurants? There was like a smoking section and a non-smoking, and the only thing separating them was air. Like it was just so stupid.
Right, air.
Just an amazing game of runs down the stretch. Game 2 tomorrow night, where the T-Wolves are 5-point favorites. Once again, totals at 207.5 tonight. The Celtics 9-point favorites, so total 225. Trying to go up 2-0 in their best of 7 Eastern Conference Finals against the Indiana Pacers. I am on the Pacers plus the points in basketball tonight. You have anything tonight?
No, nothing. If anything, though, it'd be looking at points here.
Yeah.
I think if you're playing either side, it's
I'm a sprinkle.
Like you're playing money line. And I think if you're playing Celtics, I think you're laying some alts. Like they're going to have some games where they're going to shoot lights out and they're going to win big probably, but that's how I'd be approaching it. I have the series. What do I have? I have Celtics in 5. I'll be rooting for the Celtics.
I will be rooting against you. How about that? Mm-hmm. This is where we decided it was okay to root against each other.
This is what happens this time. Yep. I love Zach and JVT. I texted them very mean things yesterday.
I hope your Mavericks go down. I hope your T-Wolves go down, that kind of thing. And then Drew Dinsick and I are going to do a French Open podcast here right after the show in 15 minutes. Talk about our favorite bets here, or at least hypothetically, because we won't have quarterly numbers, but we will give our thoughts on all the quarters on the men's and the ladies' side. Bill Krackomberger is here, at Bill Crackman with a K, Wisecracks with Bill Krackomberger, John Orlando.
I had a good guest a couple weeks ago, George Martirano. His name is from Philadelphia. He was in jail for 32 years, 5 years in the hole for selling marijuana.
Wow.
Yes, he was railroaded for selling marijuana in the 80s. Granted, he was dealing with Pablo Escobar and Griselda Blanco.
Oh, there's more to the story.
No, he was dealing with Griselda Blanco, who was the real boss, which I always think they build her up, and he said absolutely not. She was the boss. Pablo respected Griselda. She was the godmother. I don't know if you know this.
Yeah.
The Cocaine Cowboys whole story.
Yeah.
So George was not only that, he was a cellmate in Marion with John Gotti for 2 years. Him and John were in the same cell together. So it was a really good. If you guys want to watch a good podcast, just go to YouTube.
How'd you get him on the show?
I met him at a restaurant a couple days earlier with a lot of gathering, a lot of the old timers in town over at Dom DeMarco's. The guy Al that owns it said, "Why don't you come over? We're having a hot dog thing where we make hot dogs from all around the nation."
Al, the pizza guy.
Pizza guy.
Yeah,
Al. So I went up there and I met George and. This guy comes in, he's such a good-looking guy, and he has like a sweater vest, and he was dressed so well, impeccably manicured. And I'm like, wow, this guy looks great. He goes, looks great. He's 75, he looked great, and he did 32 years in jail. I was like, wow, 30 for selling marijuana. I mean, but his father, he's not a mobster or anything. His dad was, but he wasn't. And, so anyway, that's one of my shows. And last week's show was great, too. We just talk about spontaneous things that went on. So you guys can just go to YouTube for that or wherever you get your Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. And I appreciate watching that. The one with George is an hour and a half, but it's unbelievable, his stories of what went on. He actually was, his workout buddy was a guy who cut 3 heads off. So he's like,
sure.
No, I mean,
sure.
It's unbelievable. Like this guy
doesn't work out with someone like that.
No, it's just like he was. This guy was in for life. So they had to actually weld him to the cell eventually. They welded him to the. It's great stories he has. Yeah.
We get tweets.
RoboCop. Did he weld him to the cell?
Weld?
Yeah.
There's also, I haven't heard, I don't know if you guys have heard a single good thing about it, but there is, Sofia Vergara, right, has the Griselda show on Netflix.
Griselda. I didn't watch it.
I haven't watched it at all. I also haven't heard a single thing about it.
Only because I heard it wasn't accurate. Her son, Griselda's real son, is a guy named Michael Corleone. They took the name after Godfather. Michael Corleone Blanco. He did a couple of interviews and I watched them. And he said that most of it was just fiction. So.
Let me read some tweets from listeners. Larry Fresh. When is Kelley opening up Gator Burger Spot? Vegas. Bring Florida to Vegas. Mark Goldberg. Of course, Unscripted is the #1 show here in South Florida.
Oh, cool.
Hoops by Hoot. Since Florida follows Kelley, sounds like an investment opportunity is in the making. Wawa franchising in Vegas, perhaps?
that would be nice.
We need that.
That would be nice.
J-Rod letting us know that some French Open props are coming out, too. We'll talk about this on the podcast. Iga versus Sabs in the final, plus 440. Iga versus Sabalenka in the finals, plus 440 available at shops. Montreal Max, imagine these hot Phillies, talking about your Guardians bet here now, imagine these hot Phillies having that Dodgers faux pandemic season World Series title, pardon me, where they would be just 10 games away now from starting the postseason and playing the League Championship Series and World Series in the same stadium and never leaving the hotel, and great having Bill back, by the way, as well. That is true, by the way. We don't make enough of that. Like that pandemic season, the 60-game baseball season where the Dodgers won the World Series and they played in pods. Remember, and it was just, You're right. The season would be, that is so true to think about it right now. The Phillies would be the best team, and like the Dodgers, Yankees, and Guardians would be the next 3 best teams heading into the postseason. Henry's Boy, 2. Guys, I used to fly weekly from LaGuardia to DFW and back to catch an earlier flight. I always ended up in a smoking middle of 5 seats.
Oh, God.
The good old days.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, the middle row, too, right? Or the middle, you had like the...
Brutal.
Middle column.
Middle column.
When you have like the 3 sets, right? You'd have like the middle 3 or whatever.
Yeah. That was always the thing. Bill, you got more on your list there.
I did. Well, I want to tell you guys, too, there's a new feature on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. So, it just seems like everything, like if you start the thread, if you start the tweet, it's your tweet, and there's replies in there. Like, I get all these guaranteed fixed games, and Rosie, they find me every time. There's a porn person.
I'll get any of those.
Rosie, they're up to Rosie 1,340,000 now. I mean,
Kelly and I have.
You guys don't get that?
Well, no, Kelly and I.
do.
I don't get the fixed games. I don't get any.
I get
of that.
fixed games
You don't get
every.
those?
I don't get any
every
fixed
single
games.
time.
Yeah.
I get them. The
I
fixed
get
games.
Kelly and I get 400 people named Elizabeth who love us though.
Right.
Get that.
But you don't click. I remember just now. He doesn't click on the things. That's the added thing on the bottom. He doesn't click on that. They're behind that little wall.
Yeah, I don't click on it.
He doesn't click on it. So there's a new feature though. I love it. The feature is you could hide the reply and block them. So that's what I saw. Literally, you could hide it and block them. When you hit hide, it'll say, "Do you want to block them also?" Now, and so now, all I'm saying is, I don't want a kid to come on there and get sucked in by someone showing a fake fixed game. They're all scams.
Yeah.
So I think it's great that you can hide the reply and block the fixed games. He's done. He can't follow you no more. But they come up with new ones every day. I just think it's a good little tip.
That's great.
Yeah.
I should be taking the time to do that, and I don't
I
actually.
know. I got too much time in my hands probably this time of the year. Listen, also, a buddy of mine came in. I didn't know what was going on at the airport here in Vegas. So now if you catch a cab, which I know a lot of people use Uber or something, it's a fixed rate. Did you know that?
No.
It's a fixed rate now. Where in the past they would try to go around the little loop and make some extra.
Oh, like the guy who tried to charge me $30 to go to Venetian at one time.
Well, I believe they have it planned out like that, right,
Yeah,
Bill?
it's
It's depending on where you go on the strip.
Yeah, like it's 20, 24, 30. I think that's what it is, 30. So sure enough, 30. That's the number. Gill just hit it.
Yeah.
He was going and he's going to the win. From there to the win.
$30, dude.
$30.
Are you kidding me?
How about this?
It's still better to do the cab though than the Ubers, right? Because Ubers can't get close.
I would think Uber's less.
No, Uber's less.
I would think Uber's less.
Yeah, but can they get close to the airport?
Close to the airport? No, you have to know where to go.
Yeah,
that's true.
Oh, but even the cabs are right outside, but the Uber is right across the way. It's not that bad.
Over in the garage.
It depends what terminal. Depends what terminal.
I mean, this is still an old Vegas thing where the cabs try to block out the Ubers.
The worst thing with the cabs back in the day was I used to basically, as we all know, live at the Hard Rock.
Right.
About 10, in the summertime, 10, 11 years ago, 12 years ago.
Oh, they would hate that ride.
If they waited in that cab line, and then they got to me, and they're like, "Where are you going?" And I said, "Hard Rock." I cannot tell you how many times they audibly shrieked or like screamed at me, like, "Oh, come on!"
Oh my God!
After they were so angry, I was like, "Sorry, dude."
That's funny. That's what the base of this thing I'm going to tell you is.
Yeah.
The guy audibly screamed at the guy in the back seat. My buddy come in. He says, It's $30 flat. Yes, it is, because he goes, it's $30 to go to the Wynn. Yes, it is, but, we work on tips. This $30 is not enough.
Oh, God.
The cab driver told me, first of all, I'm pretty rough on it. I rather use Uber. I'm not a cab guy. But I remember these drivers are just, like you said, this guy was a $30 rate to go from the airport to the Wynn, and he's telling him ahead of time. He's conditioning him.
Yeah.
That's not even conditioning. He's blatantly telling him, it's $30, but we work on tips. Like, come on, that's a great experience. Just come to Vegas for the first time, and the cab driver's shaking you down.
That's good action for people who are coming in, though. I didn't know it was fixed rates now.
Fixed rate, cabs.
I was grabbing a cab. I Uber to the airport, cab from the airport.
Really, I think the Uber.
Look at you.
I like the Uber.
It's an interesting strategy.
Well, guys, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it as always. At Bill Krackomberger with a K. Wise Cracks, Bill Krackomberger and John Orlando. Good episode out there right now.